Welcome back, everybody. We're kicking off February. Actually, this is February 1st. We're kicking off February and we're kicking off a new week all at the same time with a wonderful actor. You'll see him on CBS's, or you have seen him on CBS's All Access show, The Stand, which is unfortunately very appropriate to what we've been dealing with. He plays Steve. Please welcome Tarun Keram.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Yeah, so getting getting to be on a show like that, and then dealing with the pandemic, the kind of the reality and trying to figure out which one's real, which one's not. Did you struggle with that, or you're still knowing which one is? I guess which one's better? I don't know.
Which one's better?
Yeah,
Probably ours. No
yeah,
one's, I don't know, 99.4% of the population is dead in the other one.
that is
Um,
true.
but
But
I,
yeah,
I just can't believe it because we filmed that before the
yeah,
pandemic.
yeah.
We finished filming and then in March, everything was closed down. I think my last day was March 4th or something.
Okay.
And the next week, everything shut down.
Yeah, and I mean, you're in Vancouver. You're an hour outside of Vancouver, but Vancouver, thankfully, has been a lot better in terms of kind of filming hubs. So
Yeah.
I know some work resumed on The Good Doctor and on some of the other projects. So are you kind of the in and out part of you resumed, then you shut down again, then you resumed? Where are you now? Are you guys shooting?
Yeah, where everyone's shooting. I haven't heard of any sets closing down. I think that's because we have to
Okay.
get tested 3 times a week.
Okay.
That's minimum. We have to. Otherwise, the whole set shuts down. And there's a lot of money in film and TV to the
Yeah.
point where Netflix can have their own lab. They have their own lab in the city, and
Yeah.
people just drop off their tests and then they get their results same day.
Okay, so is it a rapid type of a test, or is it a kind of a full swab that usually takes a few days that you're just getting quicker?
Uh, I'm not sure. I'm just an actor. They just it's not the one where they just shove it up your nose. It's just
Yeah.
like around the tip and then that's it.
Okay. Yeah. So
So,
it's more the rapid variety.
is that the rapid one? Yeah. So it's a rapid then.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you guys are not going to have what China is doing right now, which is a different kind of test with a different kind of hole.
Oh, I just heard about that one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hopefully not in film anytime soon.
I hope not, because that does not sound like fun. As much as the going all the way up to the brain sounds bad, the other one I think sounds
That's
even
probably worse.
yeah, even worse. My goodness. But yeah, 3 times a week. That's very cool. And you're still kind of wearing masks or wearing shields until you're in a scene.
Yeah, we have to come to set with a mask on, and some people have the mask and the face shield.
Hmm.
And then as soon as we're about to start shooting, they
Yep.
have to call it on set and they take your face shield and mask and then go away. And then as soon as the take is done, they run over and then they do it again.
My goodness. Yeah, and yeah, lots of takes. So it's on and off all the time. But in terms of we've all got accustomed to wearing masks and face shields. It leaves marks, and when you're doing scenes, those marks really shouldn't be on. So is it, hey, we're gonna give you kind of different kind of mask that hopefully is not going to pinch anything, and then we have to have makeup on everywhere, getting everybody powdered on.
I don't know. So far, it's been just the mask. I shot a Toyota commercial and I had a big beard,
Okay.
and the beard kept like pulling my face in. It
Yeah.
was a very flat beard, and
Mhm.
so when we came to shooting, we had to stop and final touches had to come in, shape it out, and then we'd shoot, and then I put the mask on again, and it was the same thing over and over and over. We can't just have just the face shield. There has to be a mask.
Yeah. My goodness. Well, again, anything that we need to do in order to get the job done, it just adds
Yeah, yeah.
more,
At least we're
adds
working.
more to the routine. Uh, as we're talking, I wonder, and I have not seen the stand. I'll check it out. But are there people that are wearing prosthetics? Are there people who are kind of their faces has changed? I wonder how they're dealing with it because obviously you're able to breathe through it, but do they go around in masks as well? It'll be interesting.
Oh, in the stand, I think I don't think I've seen any masks. I think maybe at the beginning they had the hazmat suits,
Yeah.
but this is this is post everyone being dead, so I think
So
they're just
perfect.
doing the mask. Everyone who had it is dead, so I think maybe that's what it is.
I get you. I get you. And you're still driving kind of back and forth, or you're in Vancouver while you're shooting, and then you go back home.
I'm usually in Surrey where I live, but auditions aren't happening in person, and that's where all the auditions are in Vancouver. So I'm not really going there because everything is self-tape. So I just shoot it at home.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing in the States. I'm in Chicago, so it's
Oh, you're in
basically
Chicago. Nice.
yeah, it's all self-tape. I think Atlanta did self-tape before everything started, and then now everybody's pretty much all self-tapes. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, listen.
We're the same. We're just sort of catching up to that, I think.
But Vancouver is cool, and I've had a chance to have a lot of Vancouver actors on, and you have so much fun stuff shooting in Vancouver that you get a chance to be a part of. And we'll
Yeah.
come back to the stand in a few minutes, but you know, Travelers is a show that I really enjoyed. You get a chance to be a part of that. The whole kind of CW Arrowverse, you get a chance to be a part of that on Arrow and on Supergirl.
Supergirl.
You know, then Amazon's Upload, which was really enjoyable. You get a chance to be on that. So it's like for me, Vancouver just seems to be one of those places where it's like, okay, it's the all you can eat buffet. I love all of these shows. You know, what can I get myself onto?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. There's a lot of switching genres going from, I guess, a CW show all the way to The Stand, where it's the tone is completely different.
Yeah, yeah,
You have to adjust all the time.
yeah. Very cool. And are you getting to a point? I know you've been working for a while, but you're still kind of at the beginning of your career, if you will. Are you getting to
Mhm.
a point where people know you and they're calling you in, or it's still, you know, submission, 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 and then see what happens?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think
Okay.
even with The Stand, I had done Twilight Zone with CBS,
Mhm.
and I don't know if it helped or not, but The Stand's also CBS, so
Yeah.
I got it right away. No callback, none of that, which was super rare,
Yeah.
especially since I was on it for 5 episodes.
Yeah.
um, and then I do see a lot of the same directors, and so I think
Mhm.
people do know me, but on a smaller scale.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, even
That's
with Travelers, I was on Life Sentence, and it was the first assistant director,
mhm.
and then he went back to Travelers, and he was a first as well, but he was allowed to direct an episode. So he directed an episode. He saw me come into the room,
Yeah.
and yeah, he's like, "I liked your work in Life Sentence, and I liked your work in the room. So let's do this."
That's the beauty of the business that people don't necessarily kind of appreciate or talk about enough, at least from what
Yeah,
I am exposed to, is that it's all relationships. It's all of, you know, be professional, be a good guy on set, do your job. You have no idea who's going to be calling you later on because they've seen you in something, and that opens a lot of doors for you. So
exactly.
yeah. So diving into kind of the acting bit of it, where
Yeah.
does your love of acting come from? I know you weren't, you know, you didn't start out intending to be an actor. How did that happen?
Yeah. So I every Sunday I'd go to the flea market with my dad, and we just pick up old VHSs.
Mhm.
Remember those?
I do.
Uh, and we would watch Rocky, The Mask, um, just anything that was out at the time.
Mhm.
And I guess that's where my love of film came about.
Yeah.
And after, I don't know, growing up, I always said I wanted to be an actor, but they always said just finish school first.
Okay.
And in grade 12, my last year, my final year of high school, in the very last term of high school, I took up theater thinking that, oh, maybe I'll just try it, see how it goes.
Mhm.
But the problem with that is everyone knew each other. So I was kind of like the new kid at the party,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the teacher had his favorites. Um, it just wasn't for me enjoyable at all. I did not like it. And then I gave it one more try after I went to university, and then I dropped out of university to go to film school. It's kind of weird, but I just said, let's just try it. Let's just do it. And then, yeah, That's what happened. It was the same university that Ryan Reynolds dropped out of to
Ah,
pursue it.
well,
Yeah.
there you go. It's a good karma. It worked out fairly well.
Yeah, yeah, good karma.
Yeah, Ryan's awesome. What did your parents think? I know you kind of have a family business that you're still running, the print shop. But what did they think? Did they say, okay, well, we don't know if we want you to go into it, or hey, you have a couple of years, give it a try, and then get back to the real world?
Yeah, I mean, for the longest time, my dad was always on my side about it, but
Okay.
then my mom wasn't. And then as soon as I graduated, there wasn't a lot of acting going on. There was
Yeah.
just waiting around for auditions. So I think then my parents were like, "Okay, what are you doing now?" I said, "No, no, it takes time. It takes time." And then I don't know if that feeling ever goes away though. They're always saying like, "Oh, what are you up to? Like, what's
Hmm.
new? Oh, is
Hmm.
this your project? Cool. When's it on?" But it's never like, "Oh, you made it." But I
Yeah.
feel like that's even with friends too. It's
Yeah.
it's a weird industry. I don't know. I'm in it for life. Like I'm gonna be acting until I'm 80, so that's
Good.
fine.
Yeah, taking the long view is the proper way to approach it, because if you know what you're going into it and you know kind of the flow of it, then you're okay with it. A lot of people go in there and say, okay, I'm going to do this in like 1 year. I gave myself a chance, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't. It's like walking into marriage and no offense to anybody who's done this, it's just
You
not
done it?
something I think works. But going into marriage, but not getting married and just moving in and saying, let's see if it works. It's like
Yeah,
you're either in it or you're not. Because if you're not in it, then you're just looking for excuses to get out.
yeah,
Whereas, this is you will for life, or people get married, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
yeah.
But it's that mindset of how do you go into it. So I like hearing what you just said.
Oh, yeah, of course. I think people have an unrealistic idea of how it works. It is an art form. It does take time to get good at it.
Hmm.
I went to school with a bunch of people who they got these big roles way before I did,
Yeah.
but they couldn't stay in the industry. They just stopped because auditions weren't coming in.
Yeah.
And I think there's a trap in there when you validate yourself because of auditions.
Yeah.
Auditions do not validate you as
Hmm.
an actor, first and foremost.
So what do you think validates you as an actor?
Well, for me, I like to create my own projects. I like to get together with people and just make my own art. I'm directing something that's coming out pretty soon. I just finished it. I produced it. I co-wrote it,
Hmm.
and anything to sort of just keep me in the industry.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I don't know, and I think it works so far. I'm still in it.
Yeah, listen, you're doing good. I mean, you're doing co-stars, you're doing guest stars. You're obviously on the stand now. Is it a regular? Is it a recurring guest star? What's
It'd be recurring.
recurring? Okay.
Yeah,
So again, it seems like you're doing the right thing and that you're getting noticed. But yeah, creating your own projects, that's the key to doing it. We can't just be sitting around and waiting for somebody to notice us or
yeah,
to take us out of the way that they view us or the types of roles that they want to put us in. We have to create our own content. That's the show for me of
yeah.
getting an
There you go.
opportunity to
Love
talk to
that.
people. But by the way, the bad the bad part of that is that on IMDb Pro, I was always the actor. As soon as I started doing the show, the actor part moved away. It's the director, executive
Oh,
producer.
it's taking over. Yeah,
Yeah, like the director, executive producer, creator, like all of that is front billing, and then the actor is like all the way somewhere in the back.
that's funny.
So
I have to
yeah,
Google you.
yeah, it's a pretty interesting thing. But yeah, creating your own projects is cool. Do you try to kind of write your roles a little different from what you're being cast at, or you see a wide range where people put you in and you don't need to kind of show them a different look?
I don't think I need to show anyone a different look. If you look at my IMDb, I don't think I've ever really done anything more than twice. There was a barista role. Like I've been a barista a
Yeah.
couple times, but
Mhm.
other than that, I think I've been pretty lucky where I haven't been typecast. So there's
Good.
still so much out there for me to explore, which
Yeah.
is great. But what I do like to write, um, I like to put myself as a lead because there's not a lot of lead South Asian roles out there. That's
Yeah.
the only problem I'd say.
Well, hopefully that's changing. And I've seen certain projects where things are getting to be better in that regard. But do you
Yeah.
find that, in terms of being a South Asian, that you're not getting the opportunities in a lead role, or is it just where you are, early on in your career, it's just not there yet? So is it based on that or based on South Asian?
I think it's because I'm South Asian. I've seen so many roles where it's written as an Indian character, like Adil, for example.
Yeah.
That's an Indian name, but you would see them cast somebody else. I'm not going to say what race, but there's a
Mhm.
lot of roles that are written for South Asians that just, I don't know, in the process get chopped up, skewed, and are given to other people, which is fine. It happens.
Mhm.
But I think there needs to be more of an effort to include us
There should be.
somewhere else along the line.
Yeah, there should be. One of my friends, I can say that Sujit, if you're watching, let me know if that's incorrect. Sujit Verghese, who's a wonderful actor out of Toronto, and he's done a bunch of stuff. He's on Kim's Convenience. He's on Transplant. So, and he was kind of the first Indian, in Canada that was on TV, and the role that he got, where he was in it, was initially they were testing somebody who's very well known as a white man, that they were going to be literally trying to get more tan so he can play that role. Thankfully, that fell through,
Wow.
and he convinced them to give him an opportunity. So, but yeah, it's that he's quite a bit older than you are, but thankfully things are better now. But hearing what you just said, that they're written for a South Asian person and they're given to somebody else of a different race, that's not a good sign.
No, no, it's just, I think the people up top are, it's not for every show. That was just one example of
Okay,
this one show in particular. But people at the top, I don't know, need to get with the times a little bit.
I think so. And are you viewed again, because the industry loves the ethnically ambiguous, where they can put you as a different race altogether, because you kind of may pass for it. So do you get any of those requests, even though you're a South Asian, they want to put you in a different category?
If I have been, I don't know, because it usually says open ethnicity in the breakdown.
That's good.
Yeah, I have a really good agent who submits me for sort of colorblind casting. I don't just go out just because it says South Asian. I've been pretty lucky where it would be open ethnicity, or even it says Caucasian, and then
Mhm.
I go in.
Yeah,
Like sometimes they just don't know what they're looking for.
yeah. It's about the right fit as the character. It doesn't really matter kind of what they look like, in my
Yeah,
opinion. Unfortunately, I'm not the one making the decision.
yeah. I mean, you still have to be a very good actor.
Yeah,
End
yeah,
of the day.
absolutely. Very cool. So you're doing your own projects. Let's go back to the stand for those people who are watching it and enjoying the show. What has been your favorite part of being on it?
Well, I think just working with Olivia Cheng has
Hmm.
been the best part. I love her so much. It's funny, we're both from Vancouver.
Mhm.
Like, I think she's originally from Edmonton, but we went to the same acting studios and everything. And so when we got together, we knew a bunch of the same people.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think, yeah, we had a lot more shot on camera, but I don't think a lot of it made. It's the nature of the editing process. We didn't actually make a lot of screen time, if that makes sense. So we're
Yeah.
just waiting and waiting to see what else. I don't know where we fit in. You can see us a lot in the series, but hopefully more in the next couple episodes.
I hope so. And I believe I have the right person in mind. Olivia Chang, she was just on Warrior. She was one of the regulars in
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
yeah.
so it's the same. I'm so used to her calling herself Liv and everybody calling her Liv. I'm like, I'm 99% sure that that's the one. I just
That's
want to.
that's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, she's awesome. Warrior is one of my favorite shows, and I've had lots of regulars on. Liv, you still have not been on. The invitation is there, so please take me up on it.
Text her right after this.
Please do, because again, like almost everybody from the regulars have been on, except for a few people. So I'm still waiting for them. But I off on a live tangent for a second, but I love the kind of the groundiness that she works with, and the character is interesting. There's no two-dimensionality there. There's a lot of depth. You're always wondering what exactly is going on. It's very interesting, kind of actor to watch. So now that I know that she's in the stand, it's another reason for me to check it out.
I'll tell her. I'll text her right after.
Yeah, please do. What else? Again, okay, I'm gonna go through kind of my Rolodex of the shows that I enjoy just because I want to know your experience on them.
Sure.
But I really, really liked Travelers. I'm sad that it ended, and it was all kind of all Canadian show. It worked out that way. Everybody from Vancouver. What was it like to be on that particular set? I would have wanted to be on there. What was it like for you?
I mean, it was cool. There's do you know what the Peony is? It's like where the fair is. There's rides in Vancouver. There's like a Ferris wheel.
Uh, yeah. Again, I've been to Vancouver twice or once. Once, I stand corrected. And I know we went around that, so I kind of know. But go ahead.
Yeah,
So,
so there was like an abandoned sort of area off the
okay,
side. So I drove there. It was fine.
yeah.
But then I didn't really. It's a massive parking lot. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Like there was a giant warehouse and there's a giant safe. I don't know. You've seen the episode, then, obviously.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's a giant safe that they had just built inside, which is super cool.
Yeah.
Um, I don't I wouldn't say it was completely different from any other set,
Mhm.
but I will say that the cast and crew were very different from a lot of sets
No
where
way.
everyone was super inviting, no matter how small or big your role was,
That's great.
even behind the camera.
Mm.
And that's again, that's where I met my friend from what was that show? I was just talking about it. Life Sentence.
Yeah, it's great.
And then he ended up directing it. So that was cool too.
Yeah, very cool. And then Upload. I keep waiting for Upload to come up with a second season. How was Upload? Upload was a really, really interesting show that kind of is a little slow developing, and then it just takes off, and you're completely done by the end of it. So what was that shoot like? Because again, I don't know. Was it your first? I think it was your first time working with Amazon. What was
Yeah, it was my first time. Yeah,
yeah.
it was cool. It was it was weird. It was also very weird. Yeah, we were in again some abandoned warehouse sort of situation, and there's 3 floors
Mhm.
of just random things happening, and I didn't quite understand until I got the full script
Okay.
because I only got maybe like this much of a script. Everything else is like blacked out,
Yeah.
and it turns out we're in some virtual world where you can be anyone and anything. You can make your own avatar, be whoever you want. And yeah, it was cool. It was cool because there's just so many people around. Everyone just looked weird,
Yeah.
just really weird, which is good.
Yeah.
And the cast was great too. But the only problem was I had a mask on the whole time. So you didn't really see my face. And then I had to do ADR for it
Okay.
on set, like a couple buildings over. Like it was just the director and I and the sound guy, and I don't think we got clean audio for it. So when it came to, because my mask would muffle my voice, right?
Yeah.
So I had to get clean audio elsewhere. And then when I watched the episode, somebody else had talked over my lines, like somebody else had dubbed it, so they didn't use my voice.
Dude.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. But the show was cool. And then in terms of the
yeah, the
show,
show's great.
and being on CW, being on Supergirl, which is awesome, being on Arrow, which was great. Are there particular shows, up to obviously The Stand, but are there shows that people recognize you for, or kind of ping you on the most of saying, dude, I've just seen you in that, or great job, or kind of all over?
It's probably Supernatural.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
fan base is something else. Like the fan base is really good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of the best shows, and
And
now
magicians as well.
Magicians.
Yeah.
Yeah, Magicians is on my list. it's kind of I'm creeping up to it. It's a big list that I have to go through, but it's on there.
I'm gonna go through your IMDb and just go through
Yeah,
everything.
absolutely. You should. Or we can talk offline. You can give
Do it.
me
Let's do it.
recommendations. Very cool. So, in terms of your acting approach, because I wanted to dive into that a little bit, what would you say if there is a particular approach that you utilize more than others that is your kind of bag of tricks?
Hmm. That'd be a secret.
Which is
Well, what I
cool.
can tell you,
Yeah.
is how I approach a script,
Hmm.
which is I read it a bunch of times, and I memorize the other characters' lines,
Mhm.
and then I come back to it. I didn't do a lot of text analysis for the longest time, breaking down a scene. This is what
Mhm.
happens here. This is the
Yep.
beat change, verbing. Ugh, I find that I get too into my head.
Exactly.
So I think improv is a very good tool,
Mhm.
as well as trying it a couple different ways.
Mhm.
Even if it doesn't feel right, your instincts might say, "Oh, here's your coffee," but
Yeah.
why don't you try it like, "Here's your coffee"? I mean, it probably looks stupid. It might not be right, but at least you're now flowing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You reach a certain point where you're just so focused, and there's like a flow state that happens,
Mhm.
and you're just so in the scene, even if it's just one line, two lines.
And that's the way it's supposed to be, right? You're supposed to
Yeah.
be in it. That's the whole point, not just kind of be there to regurgitate a line.
Yeah.
So, but okay, keeping the secret a secret. But I have to ask this question: since you tend to memorize the lines of the other actors, how does that get you into trouble in terms of anticipation, or
A
you
little bit.
find that it's okay?
Yeah. The real skill that I've been trying to develop over these years is throwing it away. Just
Good.
throw everything away.
Yeah.
And that includes post audition. As soon as I audition, I'm done. Cool. It's not my role. It's not my job to cast myself. It's somebody else's.
Mhm.
And if they cast somebody else, great. I'm moving on to other things. I have other projects to do. Like I think keeping you that's another reason why I like to keep myself busy.
Yeah, because you don't want to think about it, don't have to, don't don't have to go through that. It's the
Yeah.
same thing from very early in the acting process for me. It was always drilled into the head of you're done with the audition, forget it, it's done.
Yeah. You have
You know,
have to take care of yourself. Otherwise it's you're gonna drive yourself crazy.
yeah, especially on things that you really want to get, and then you overanalyze and you can't sleep, and you're like, no, I'm done moving forward. And that's why, as you said, like having your own projects, you get busy and you get excited and you get creative about something else. And then that kind of all just naturally falls by the wayside.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you get a role, it's a nice surprise. Even with the stand, I was on set for a movie and
Yeah.
I was just with my friend and I got an email saying, "Oh, you got it. Here's your shoot dates, this, and that." I'm like, "What? I didn't even think I'd get the role, first of all."
Well, that's the great surprise. Hopefully, you get a lot more of them coming this year.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Very cool. So again, I know kind of the fun little tidbits that some people know about you is that you played ultimate frisbee, but you still continue it, or when you were done in high school, that's it.
When I was done in high school, I went to SFU Burnaby,
Mhm.
Simon Fraser University in Burnaby. I didn't even go to the school, but my friend did, and he says, "Oh, just come out to the practices and stuff." And I still really liked it, but it was just as soon as I started film school, it was 5 days a week. It's a year and a half.
Yeah,
I just couldn't commit to it. But I started to pick it up during the pandemic because there's nothing else to do, just except throw a frisbee around.
yeah. So who do you throw frisbee with during the pandemic?
My fiance.
Okay, well, that works. That works.
Yeah.
When's the big day? Have you been able to schedule anything?
No, no, we got engaged in February, and then the
Cool.
pandemic hit in March, and we said, okay,
Yeah.
so let's stop planning until we know what's happening. Probably 2023, I think.
Okay. Yeah, because it's one of those things that takes a lot of planning, and especially in the pandemic, it's not a good idea.
We're not in a rush.
Some people that I know, had to have weddings, so everything got rearranged, and the whole wedding, everything was planned, and then pandemic hit, and they're like, okay, that changes things, and we're gonna scale things down. My best friend just had a bat mitzvah for his daughter, so they kept postponing it, postponing it, postponing it, and they ended up doing it virtually, losing a ton of money on it. So
Nice. Safe
yeah,
distance.
yeah, it is what it is, and smaller issues than what the world is dealing with.
It
on,
can be
on,
bad.
Very cool. So less things of, I know you're busy with your own projects. I know you're busy because you have your print shop. How does all of that kind of fit with your schedule? You get a call saying, hey, you just booked this, or you're going to be on set this day. Somebody kind of help you with the print shop, and how do you arrange your own kind of projects that you're working on independently?
Yeah, so usually the independent projects I like to shoot on weekends. It just works best for everyone.
Cool.
It's really difficult to find crew members because they're always on set. It's such a busy town.
Yeah.
So weekends works best. As far as auditions, because it's virtual, I just do it after work.
Cool.
And as far as set goes, I have someone who works for me. He just covers for me.
No, that works, but it's again all the things that you have to arrange and think through. Uh,
Yeah,
and in terms of weekends, again, I know it's the same in Vancouver. We do this a lot in Chicago. A lot of the independent projects, it goes to students, and it goes to the colleges, and there are a ton of really great colleges with film programs that are really good, that already come with the equipment that you don't have to kind of buy or rent out. So
right.
that happens. So I don't know if you guys are doing the same.
Yeah. I'm able to go to my old film school anytime and ask for help, which is nice.
Very cool. All right. Well, listen, it's such a pleasure getting to know you. Best of luck at everything. Hopefully, the stand, or hopefully our pandemic never gets to the point of the stand, and we can just kind of look at it and be able to separate, reality from fantasy.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. And please text Liz. I would love to talk to her. We have lots of things to discuss.
Yeah, okay. I'll
And
do
thanks to everybody for tuning in. It's another episode of The Love of Acting. We know you love it as much as we do, and this is why we continue doing this for you. Thank you.